Dilapidated buildings. We're down to old business, dilapidated buildings. We have, Terry and I went to Colin one day to get his take on a couple of these ordinances, one on dangerous buildings and one on property maintenance code. We were specifically asking the question about abandoned. Do you want to address this?
We wanted to know whether we could serve on these abandoned houses and I still really haven't gotten a definition of abandoned.
It says here, the one in chapter 145 said, whenever any portion of a building or structure remains on a site after the demolition or destruction of the building or structure, or whenever any building or structure is abandoned for a period in excess of 6 months, so as to constitute such building or portion thereof an attractive nuisance or hazard to the public.
So I kind of assumed.
And where'd you get that?
That's chapter 145, the council code.
City ordinance.
City ordinance. It's just that Terry
Was
has...
that 145.6?
That's 145.03.5.
Okay.
There's also an inadequate, there were a number of things on here. Inadequate maintenance, whenever a building or structure used or intended to be used for dwelling purposes because of dilapidation, decay, damage, faulty construction, or otherwise, is determined by any health officer to be unsanitary, unfit for human habitation, or in such condition that is likely to cause sickness or disease. You want to tell us about the health officer, what you did?
Sure. Last Monday I was asked to attend a public health, Sac County Public Health Commission meeting. Is it a commission?
Board of Health.
Board of Health. Thank you, Jim. And one of the subjects and one of the reasons I was asked to come was a discussion about the use of the sanitary and inside city limits and what that role could be. And the question was whether, to the board, was whether or not the sanitarian could serve as the public health officer for these communities. And to basically make a long story short, in the end, they voted and approved using the sanitarian, to allow the sanitarian to serve as the local community public health officer. It is a service provided by some of the other counties, for particular, I believe we talked about Cherokee and Storm, Buena Vista being the two that use the sanitarian for those purposes. And so they approved it. So from the purposes of using Code 145 in the future for that particular subsection of the code, Terry, upon determination that there's a need to review a property, can request the aid of the sanitarian to serve as to do an evaluation. Now, under the code, there's only one thing that the sanitarian or any other public health officer is there to make a determination on, and that is the habitability of the property. Is the property still usable for habitability purposes? That is the only determination that the health officer is to make.
The chapter 145, the general definition of unsafe is all buildings or structures which are structurally unsafe and or not provided with adequate egress, or which constitute a fire hazard or are otherwise dangerous to human life, or which in relation to existing use constitute a hazard to safety or health or public welfare by reason of inadequate maintenance, dilapidation, obsolescence, or abandonment, are for the purpose of this chapter unsafe buildings. All such unsafe buildings are hereby declared to be public nuisances and shall be abated by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal in accordance with the procedure specified in this chapter. So, do you have a copy of this?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, yeah. So,
There's a full public hearing, there's a hearing requirement. 145, being that it bears a lot more, and I'll use this term loosely, teeth, than some of our other nuisance abatement type of ordinances. This one has, of course, the most teeth to it. As having the most teeth, it also has a more structured procedure in which you are to activate 145, including a hearing process.
hearing all of that, you should also know that the last tax sale for Sac County did not go well. They told me there were a number of properties that did not sell because nobody wants to take responsibility for them.
Good thing.
So in that, yeah. So what that does is open up the fact that nobody has a right to take title to them anymore. Even though they have a certificate of tax sale and they may have paid the taxes in 2007, 2008. County treasurer says as of June 30th, a number of their options have run out. So, like the person that paid the back taxes on the old shoe store, his opportunity to take title has run out. The person that paid the back taxes on the building north of VFW, the same thing occurred. So, there virtually is not any structure that we've been looking at as dilapidated, dangerous, or abandoned that can't be handled now.
So, what's our next step?
I mean, there's got to be I guess I'm going to use the word original owner.
That was the other thing we talked to Colin about.
Good luck, yeah.
You're thinking the shoe store.
That's why
In
we went,
particular.
that was 50% of the reason we went to see Colin.
The state code does put some pretty heavy burden on us as far as notice requirements go, and I'm sure Colin probably informed you of that. There's some pretty stiff. Colin may have mentioned to you about a public notice opportunity. You have to meet certain criteria, and I don't even know if you can use it in this type of purpose. But there is an element within the law that if you show that you've done your due diligence to supply direct service and you fail, there is an opportunity to use public service. Like I said, I don't know if the state of Iowa actually allows you to do it in this type of circumstance. But you
So
can.
if the state of Iowa doesn't allow, who are you quoting then? What state does?
The state of New York, I know allows for public.
Well, basically what Colin told Terry is if you see a building or home or something like this, it's like, you have the right to sign inside. So,
Go back to Steve's, to this Matt's shoes, it's in a limited liability corporation.
Oh yeah, I've gone through all of that.
Yeah. Have you talked to Colin?
I haven't talked to Colin, but I talked to Winchell's because he was going to deed it to me 5 years ago. And I said, no.
That's what,
And I have a problem with the plat, or the plot. When I bought the building, my building from Bob Nedrow, we had a problem when we read the, went through the title. Because the original downtown Sac City, there's a problem. And their deed, their property is like 4 inches inside my wall.
Oh, good.
Because of that party wall that we all have downtown. But I guess here it is, if I've got to take myself off the board tonight to say this,
Sorry.
what's going to happen? The building's got a hole in the roof that we can drive a semi through. Every time it rains, there's more mold.
I was in it today, it's not very nice.
No.
I
Like a
stopped and
little
looked in
steamy.
the window
Oh,
before
yeah.
we had stuff on there, and I went,
Oh.
oh, man.
Well, we can discuss this till the council.
I know, but I mean, what are we going to do, Adam?
Okay, let me ask you this, Adam. Do you have anything in the city budget to take care of these dilapidated buildings around town? And if you don't, why don't we?
Well, the question is how much do you want to be there?
Okay,
When
how
you're
much is
talking about, and I won't use Mass Shoe Store as a as an example, because it's an anomaly as far as cost.
It is, yes.
But let's just say a residence. You're talking $6-8 grand a house to take down. So the question is how much money do you want to put aside for doing this? $70,000-$80,000 will get you 7 or 8 houses, which I would arguably say that might not even put a dent in the amount of houses that you might have to deal with eventually.
But we can get rid of some of them that are in a real bad shape that are causing problems like this, right? I mean, we could put, that's a start, isn't it?
We could move towards, and once
then
again,
recoup?
it goes down to about the amount of money that the council's willing to spend. 1 to 2 houses, I believe, is about all you're going to find financially available within the budget.